Computer. Okay,
Yes.
that sounds good.
Thank you.
Anyway, do you guys like Andy Cohen? Anybody watch Bravo? I know. It's my guilty pleasure. I'm sorry. It truly is. But I went to Station Summit in Las Vegas where it was like 118 degrees the week we were there. And this was in one of the bags to keep us cool. They have lots of cool stuff, though. Refreshments and frozen things. And we had a good time in Las Vegas. That happens. Who on the chat tonight, just by a raise of hands of those of you that I can see, do radio imaging? Excellent. We have a few radio imaging folks. Jean, nice to see you. So Andrew Berger, who happens to be in the room, we're also waiting on Debi Derryberry, the one and only Jimmy Neutron will be coming soon. But we have Andrew Berger, who I love his kind of alter ego, which is DJ A Smooth.
Oh boy.
You got to talk to me about that. Where did that come from, and what does it mean? And the fact that you are the imaging director for Power 106 in Los Angeles is fantastic. And it was your dream job, isn't it?
Thank you. Yeah. You can hear me?
I think so. How's the level? Just start talking and we'll get thumbs up or down on the level. It's good for Andrew?
Okay, great. Well, the DJ thing.
The air. Thank you. So we'll make the air conditioning go off. We might get hot again.
It's okay. I'll take the jacket off.
It's just the thing. It's right over my office here, so it gets a little too loud.
The DJ thing. I'm gonna take this off. I'm hearing latency, but
Okay.
The DJ thing started when I was 14, and that was my first love to this. But I always saw myself turning on the radio, and I was like, "Who's the guy that does the?" Are we?
Just mute then.
Mute this.
Great, because he's not listening back to that anyway.
Oh, perfect.
At some point, if people
I'll
are
come back-
asking
yeah.
questions,
I'll
we'll have
go
you do
back
that.
onto that.
Great, go ahead, continue.
No, please. I started as a DJ, and I saw myself tuning into the radio so much, and I always like, who is that voiceover guy? Who's that? And I thought it was computer generated. I think everyone actually does until you get involved in our business.
Wait, so where did you grow up?
I grew up in New York City.
All right.
And I moved here about 9 months ago from to Burbank, which is a culture shock, but it was it's a good one. I ended up I was a huge Hot 97 fan.
In New York.
In New York. And the guy that does imaging there, well, I did a session with Eric Edwards, who's the voice guy for Power in LA and Hot 97. And I get his voice back, and I was like, man, doesn't really sound like the guy from Hot 97. And I fell in love with radio imaging once he was like, oh, that's Dom, and he makes me sound that good. And I was like, wow, I want to do what that guy does, because I don't have a great voice, but I love voiceovers.
Right.
I want to be the guy that makes the guy sound great. And
so this is while you're growing up in New York,
yeah,
you're listening to Hot
97.
97.
And in college, and 8 years later, I would say I was 20 actually. 8 years later, I ended up becoming this gig opened up, and I became the imaging director for Power. So
had you worked in radio before?
I was an intern. I went to a company that does imaging, and then after that, right to Power.
So you kind of learned the craft of doing the imaging.
Right, like kind of, what's the word? Well, forget that word. But I ended up, kind of just getting my foot in the door and learning what I needed to learn to try to go to the next level. I always want to work in a radio station. There's something about being at a radio station. A lot of people in the industry want to get out because they've been at a radio station. I felt I never been in, so it's time to get in there.
So you're excited. You're in the industry, which true for those of us who have spent any time in radio. We feel like, okay, what's the exit strategy?
And I understand why that's.
But I love that because you bring a new excitement and passion to your job as an imaging director. And for those of us that do the voiceover side, we don't we don't think about what that producer has to think of in order to make incredible imaging. And I know it's like award winning. What you're doing is really hot.
Thank you. I mean, that's amazing. I didn't expect that. You know, it's different. I really enjoy, a lot of people I've spoken to are trying to get in the door, and I'm very grateful for that I got in. And we have to push the culture. There's not enough younger people that are getting into it, and they're gonna, you know, we need everybody to get involved to save
to save radio. It's true, because what's happened is with you know, Spotify and all the other ways that we can choose to listen to our music, that's the huge competition for radio. And now that all the cars have CarPlay in it, and you can listen to your own jams on your way to work, what is it that makes people still want to tune into radio? That's the compelling part. And so to find young people like yourself, because something's going to have to happen to change radio again, to make it relevant. And maybe when these millennials come in and they start putting this new energy into it, maybe that's how radio is going to find its next direction. Because what's already happening is that the iHearts and the Cumulus, they're starting to unload radio stations. I know a guy that was an engineer. I was just on the phone today with a gal who needed some advice on negotiating a deal to do some radio imaging. And she said that the guys that she's working for are an engineer and these are guys probably in their 30s or 40s that got the money to buy the radio station in a very Jaja, Gigi kind of area too. So it's a very high-end demographic that the station, but you just don't hear about two guys being able to buy a radio station anymore. You think it's all big business and we're not going to have mom and pop radio anymore, which I think it may go back to.
It's funny because Power just got sold in May, and the guys that own it only own one other radio station. So the guy that bought is a billionaire, and he's a private owned company. So
interesting.
It is actually possible that we're going back to that route more than we even expected. I mean,
we have to keep it relevant, and in order to do that, it can't just be about the music. It's got to be about personalities. And for those of us here that want to learn about voiceover, maybe you came out of radio, maybe you've worked with your, growing your personality, creating a personality. Maybe some of you guys are thinking about podcasting. That seems to be the brave new world. And I actually have a really cool announcement I'm going to make soon about podcasting. But we're here because we talk about VO Mastery, which is an event that we're putting our 4th year on, Andrew.
I can't wait.
And you're going to be a part of it. So we're going to have a serious imaging panel for VO Mastery. On the panel with Andrew will be Kelly, if anyone knows who she is, Kelly Doherty. She's vice president of imaging for iHeartRadio, and she also does the imaging. So that's kind of a cool gig. Do you have a desire to actually work and figure out how to use your voice so you can maybe make some extra bank?
I do. I don't, but I'm not sure if I'm anywhere close to that yet. So I'll have to sit with a pad and pen at the
Okay, definitely. You'll come. We're all going to be talking about this. I want to open up the chat window just in case you guys have. Great. So now I'm finally looking at the chat, Shovita. So if you have messages for me, you can put them in there. So we have a lot of folks that are on that are interested in voiceover, but many people don't understand what the actual job of radio imaging is.
I don't either. So.
When I was a DJ on the radio in the 80s, I went from KMET, which was a rock station. They pulled us off the air and they changed it to 94.7 The Wave, which was sort of a jazz, smooth jazz format. Wow. That was my last radio station that I was on. And it was when I lost that job. I got fired from The Wave. And when I lost that job, that is what propelled me into the world of voiceover. I didn't know that I could take this skill, having been a DJ, and utilizing it in other areas. So in the radio imaging world, because I was no longer a personality. What are we hearing, Shovita? Hello? Hi, we're hearing someone in the background. Thank you. When I first started, my husband was working in radio and promotion, and he started telling radio stations, "Hey, do you have some lines you'd like my wife to record?" I really was the first woman out there in the world of radio imaging. And essentially it becomes the statements, the positioning statements, the promos, whatever it is that's not the DJ doing it. So it's music, there's a DJ, and then there's an imaging voice. Those tend to be the three elements. And the one consistent element is the imaging voice. And I always thought, once I left radio, where you physically had to be in a market to work on that station, I felt, you know what, I can do imaging. Because if I lose Dallas, that just means I can get another station in Dallas. Doesn't mean I have to physically move anywhere. So for me, building up that radio roster enabled me to always have a foothold in many markets, and you give them exclusivity. So only one market, you can only be the voice of one station in a specific market. So the guy that does Power 106, he's also the voice of Hot 97 in New York?
Right.
How old a guy is he?
I don't know exactly, but I would say
He's been doing it for how long?
I think it's like 30 years now.
30 years. Yeah. So everyone on this call tonight, if you start to think, I'm over 40, they may not want my voice. Guess what? If you take care of your voice, it's timeless. Yeah. And what would you say the qualities are? What is the imaging artist's name?
The voice.
Yeah,
Eric Edwards.
Eric Edwards.
He's been there for quite a while. And he's a classic voice. They actually took him off the station before me, and then brought him back. And he's a if your voice is that good, you could be a staple for the radio station. And if it's used properly too. I mean, that comes up to my job as well.
Right.
I think I know this is going to be an unpopular thing to say, but I try to space out the use of the voiceover actor, and I'll use artists as well to freshen up things, just because it gives a breath. Like Eric Edwards is my stamp, so I'll always end everything with Power 106, number one for hip hop, and him saying it versus him saying the entire
right. It makes sense, and the artist imaging statements that you get carry huge weight with the listeners, because that's really cool.
Right. I'm lucky to have that. Obviously not every market can do that, but being in LA,
you get to grab them because they all want to come through anyway.
Yeah, and I do, so.
That's great. So what would you say a good quality, because before you were at Power, you were doing imaging and you were probably dealing with a multitude of talents. What would you say some of the qualities that you need to have, regardless of how different your voice is from a traditional voice? Like, what are some of the qualities that an imaging person needs to have? Quick turnaround, great personality. What is it that?
Willing to be coachable. I think a lot of people out there don't they don't want to hear that their stuff stinks, and we'll all start from somewhere. So, as a voiceover actor as well, take direction from the imaging person, because they know what they're hearing, the idea in their head, and they're gonna make sure that you sound they're not out there to make you sound bad, because when you sound bad, they sound bad.
Right.
So it's really about being coachable and having that drive and that passion. And I mean, I would sit there all day and try to just crank things out to practice for when I get to the big leagues.
Right. So do you feel that you're a good director? Do you think that's a big part of your responsibility?
Yeah, definitely. Because being an imaging director for a radio station like Power, it consists more of also what we do out through the speakers also consist of coaching your
dynamics.
whole
Right.
talent. Like, I feel like I'm there for moral support for some of the people, for on-air people. You're dealing with so many different things. It's more than just what goes out on the air. So,
you know, it's interesting because a lot of us that are in the world of voiceover, and if you're lucky enough to do commercials or promo and you work at a very high level, what happens is when you become the voice of a radio station, having been a DJ, I understand how it works. I know how stressed these guys get. They've got salesmen dropping off. I need this promo. I need that. And they're putting pressure on you. And when you don't control the voice and it's got to be, you know, emailed to a talent, then you're at the mercy of them returning that audio to you as quickly as possible. A lot of people that have big work and didn't come out of radio have, maybe they don't have a real sense of what it's like working in a radio station. And most of them, unlike where Andrew is, there's like 6 and 7 stations deep in a facility.
One of the last guys to have one radio station.
Yeah, that's really lucky.
Right. And the one thing that, for my advice as a voiceover talent, is I could shoot over a copy to Eric Edwards during normal business hours, and it's back within 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh. And he's sitting there waiting on you.
Yeah. And he does a lot. He does way more than Hot 97 and Power One. I think he has about 200 stations. And
that's insane. 200 stations.
Because he's a legendary hip hop voice.
Sure.
So
you would think there are more.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah,
your turn's coming. So, and I would also like to throw out that when you say a legendary hip hop voice, you know, I'm kind of known as having that certain type of voice, but really in radio imaging today, I think actors may have the next sound because they don't want radio to continue to sound like this formula that has always worked. For those young up and coming programmers and production directors, they're going to be looking for the sound that's going to pull people in and keep them. And so I don't know what that is, but if you're an actor, doesn't matter if you have a big voice, a little voice, a quirky voice, all of those voices can work. You know, Joe Cipriano didn't think of himself as a big traditional voice until he got the opportunity, having been at KISS FM. I mean, he was at KISS at the time. Fox, someone doesn't have their phone muted, and we're hearing some, maybe you're washing or something. Anyway, thank you if you can mute. What I was saying about, I lost my place there. About Joe. So Joe, when he was on KISS, one of the guys that came up with the whole format and sound of Fox Television brought him in because he had a voice that was very different from anyone else in television promo. And so putting that's why they call it a branding voice. For him to lend his voice to Fox, that had that, you know, tonight it's an all new Simpsons, you know, he had that funny comedy, quirky character, but then they still had, like, you know, the big voices. Don LaFontaine was still doing it. There were the big male voices, but then there was Joe because he was quirky enough, and comedy was a big part of their lineup. And
just because a station has one voice guy doesn't mean they're looking for two, because a lot of stations want exactly what you're talking about, a big voice and a regular voice. And the regular voice is becoming very popular because it's more, the listener in radio terms could resonate with it way more than. That's why you use more listener drops, it seems, than, you know, ever before. I seem to hear a lot of that. Yeah. So, well, if anybody has a question about imaging, if you do, put it in the chat and we'll propose it. And in the meantime, I want to talk about the radio panel that will happen at VO Mastery, which is October 27th and 28th. And it'll be at the Sportsman's Lodge in Studio City. For those of you that were there last year, we were in a small meeting room. This year we're on the banquet side. We have a huge banquet room with plenty of room for our incredible sponsors, our vendors. We've got Broadcasters General Store coming out of Ocala. Technically, they're out of Ocala. And
Of course, we've got Bob Merkel and Voice Sam. We've got Sennheiser Neumann. We've got a lot of our vendors and sponsors. These are my Sennheiser headphones. By the way, I want to show you. How cool are those with that
nice.
little, like, inside? It's kind of suede-y, velvety.
They look comfortable at least.
They're super comfortable. I really like them. But I'm a one-ear girl. Does anybody here work with one ear? Yeah. I think it's good to remain grounded. So if you take one ear off, you're less in your head.
Fran,
so
we do have a couple questions if you want to.
Sure. Let me take a look.
Okay.
What demos are required for imaging? Is it one per genre, or would you do all inclusive?
I would do the genres that you want to do, you know, and I would give an overall demo. I mean, I know some guys have a rock demo and a CHR demo, and that's fine, but most guys will only listen for 2 minutes.
Right.
So it doesn't need to be super long. My first radio demo was like 5 minutes I sent out, and it was just like, no one's listening to that much work. So, and we're talking to as many people as you can, you know, that.
Right. I do like the idea, though, of if you're going to do your genres, say you feel like you've got the right voice for country and for news and adult contemporary and rock, do those individual demos. And then, why not take one?
Right.
Because, again, the program director that's listening, he may not have a space on his hot channel, but he may know that they're looking for someone doing country. And if he can hear a snippet of that, that might work. So maybe I would try both. Do the individual genres. They're about 60 seconds. They say don't go longer. And then maybe do a cut down of each. Take those best spots and really give like the best hits across the board.
Yep.
That was from Bev Standing. Thank you, Bev.
No Susan problem. Would like to know, do you recommend taking broadcasting courses to get a feel for the business and imaging?
Let me go back to that.
Do we, are you plugged in? Or are you able to hear now?
I can hear.
Oh, okay. So the question was, say again, Shovita, so Andrew can hear you.
Do you recommend taking broadcasting courses to get a feel for the business and imaging?
Sorry. Sorry, I'm working. Bye.
You know, I didn't. My recommendation is do whatever you can to get into a radio station and learn, because it depends on the station, but they're mostly looking for people always that want to learn, and that's a better way to
learn from the pros.
Yeah,
right there. Well, you know, but of course, I mean, if we have college age kids and they're in college, I would say, sure, take broadcasting.
Well,
I mean,
but some schools don't offer it. So it depends what you have. I wouldn't say don't take it, but I wouldn't say, you know.
So Anthony Pacelli, hi Anthony, said, I'm currently doing TV promo. I would love to add radio imaging. What is the best way to get started? So if someone was looking to get your attention, well, I'll answer part of that, and then maybe Andrew.
This is voicing, right?
This is VO, right? So he's probably got a really cool big voice to be doing TV promo. So I guess, you know, I can certainly help you with radio imaging. One of the things that we want to do for VO Mastery, even if you've never tried imaging before, is either maybe we'll put some demos up. Maybe you can give me a page of your copy. I'll get Kelly to give me a page of hers, and we'll put these up, and we'll let folks that might want to learn a little more, maybe take a one-on-one with him as a master class. We can figure out how to, depending on how many people really want to learn and master this. But I had this idea that if anyone that wants to be involved with the VO radio imaging panel, we're going to have you send demos. If you already have an imaging demo, killer. If you don't, we'll give you copy that you can do something. And then I'm going to let you listen to all of the people that send us their demos or they do an audition, and you get to choose maybe a top male and a top female. I want you to produce the crap out of it, and then we're going to play it back in the room when the folks are with us for VO Mastery, and we're going to find out who those top two voices are.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you. And I think I'll have Kelly do the same thing because her imaging has a different sound to it. Yeah, so I think that would be really fun because, you know, radio imaging is a big part of my life. And last year we didn't talk too much about it here at VO Mastery. So I think now is the time. I think enough folks who have been making their money in voiceover that haven't stepped into the imaging area might want to try it. I think it would be awfully fun to do something in this industry that you've never done before. So, okay. So let me look at the time. I want to keep things going. It's already 6:25 and my favorite friend, neighbor, guest is in the house. And we're going to let her come on into the big chair. So, Andrew, thank you so much.
Hopefully I was helpful.
You were, and hang out because we're going to talk more. Arnie, if you want to put that pizza in, that would be so great if we could get some pizza going for the next 30 minutes. Great. So look who's going to take a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Debi Derryberry.
Hello.
It has a delay, so if you...
What?
It has a delay on the audio.
Okay.
Feel free to.
Okay, and hang on. You guys,
A delay for my voice,
Arnie, if I
right?
could just trouble you to turn the air up. He has to kick the air up. Yeah, because it's going on, and
When
I'm
you
afraid
say
it's...
take the air up, do you mean turn the temperature up?
Yes, so that the
So that it
air
gets
will
warmer?
stop. No, just so that the air stops.
Turn the air conditioning
Can
fan
you guys
off?
hear
Is that
when the
really
air
what
is
you meant?
going versus... You know what? Guess what? They're saying they're not really hearing it. So if it goes on again, I'm okay. We can increase our little volume.
I don't hear me.
She doesn't hear her.
A little.
Oh, that's.
You know what you...
Yeah, I guess that's.
Are you
Hi.
a MacBook guy?
There. I'm good now.
No, we've got to kill this here.
Oh,
She's gonna have the headphones on. It's only plugged in there.
is that bad? Now I have a delay.
Yeah.
I
You
can't
know what,
speak.
Debbie?
You might be better off that.
Just without it, okay?
How about without it?
Okay.
And if people start to ask you questions, I'll just
Tell
we'll
me what
figure that
those
out.
questions are.
I promise I will.
Thank you. Hi,
So-
everybody.
Chatal Jones says, I remember meeting her years ago. She's so cool. Debi Derryberry, you met Debbie. Yay! Everyone in the chat is all excited that you're here.
I can't see myself in the picture.
Okay.
I need to sit on a pillow.
why
Mine
don't
sit
we
on the
get
pillow.
some pillows?
Here, yeah, I got
Eh,
I was just at the hairdresser and they had to put me on the children's booster to get your hair washed. One more, please.
How cute
I'll
is
take
she?
that one too on the back.
You know, a year ago,
Yeah, and I go right here. There. Okay,
there you go, like a nice big girl.
I'm a big girl.
Yes, you are.
The big girls cuss.
We can take this off stand if you like to. But,
Oh, can you? No, I'm comfy now.
good.
Now she's
Okay,
all comfy.
Good.
Great. So, almost a year ago, you came here and we had a conversation. You were upstairs in my booth and we went live on VO Mastery.
Right.
And we talked about what you do in the world of voiceover. And I don't compete in the world of animation. It is, to me, if that's what you guys do, it's so difficult. It's the most challenging. You have to be such a good actor to be able to do what you do.
You're very kind.
It's
I don't know.
true.
You have to be a really good actor to do what you do and to sound grown up. Like when I try and sound grown up,
Yes.
they're like,
Oh,
are you just sounding grown up, Debbie? It's like an effort for me. You just open your mouth and out comes grown up velvet.
That's true. You know, that is true. But, you know, when I was a kid, I wasn't the one trying to do funny voices. I was the girl that always wanted to be older than I was. So, you know, I dropped my voice and I think I knew that I had a good voice that made me sound older was when I could talk to older boys and they thought I was cool. Like I would be like 14 and I'd be talking to 16-year-old boys on the phone. Because on my princess phone, yes.
With the cord.
With the cord,
the
of
pink one
course.
attached to the wall.
And, well, originally it was rotary, but then
Right.
it was push buttons. There are some people on this call.
Like, what
going,
is she talking about?
"Shoot." But thank you. I know. We're all aging well. And I must say, from those of you that are putting yourselves on camera, I think you are all beautiful. and it's so great to have you. But Debbie, when I had you on the first time, I was just sort of feeling my way around a conversation with you about animation because I didn't really understand what it took. I studied with Michael Bell years ago, and I realized very quickly I'm not really cut out for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of voices in my head. I pretty much have a voice print that remains the same no matter what I do. So I knew that it wasn't going to be for me. But when I got to see you, not only how you work, get to know you, get involved, we're going to talk about some of the projects you're on right now, which are super fun. But then I had a woman who needed to do an audition over at Warner Brothers, and she was getting a Disney callback. And I had Debbie come over here and work with her. I have never seen anyone direct people as quickly, efficiently, and like with adjustments that just took the performance to a whole other level. It blew my mind how gifted you are. And you do coach. You coach.
I do. I coach a lot, and I mean, there's only so many hours in the day.
And you've got to carve out the time. Okay, I got to go work. All right, I have a few hours at home, but you have so many kids that want to study.
Yeah, well, all ages. I have 7-year-olds. I have 80-year-olds, and everything in between. And I have people that coach me that come via Skype to get coached, just to kind of get their feet wet. And I have, A-list actors that come to coach if it's a heavy audition and they want that audition to really jump. We'll record it at my studio, and we'll go through it, and I'll really lift it off the page for them. Because people sometimes just are, they're great actors, great voice actors, but maybe, I don't know, they've gotten a little slack, or maybe they're not hearing themselves, or maybe the tempo.
You just hear it and you just instantly know. Okay, but what was amazing, that girl was so talented.
She was very good.
Give her adjustments, and I could hear how it changed.
She was great, but she took the adjustments well.
I have a couple. Okay, so there's a young lady who I love, Eleanor. She got some pretty terrible feedback, and you actually got to direct her one day about acting. She got dumped from a VO class. They told her that she wasn't a good actor. And I'm sure that felt really horrible, Eleanor. And I can't believe someone would actually out you if it was during the class. That would be the most horrible thing. But commercial acting, as I had written you in the note, Eleanor, is very challenging. You've got to be great to be a commercial actor and book. And I think that some folks, if they don't have that ability to really sound different, do different things, think differently, that you may be more comfortable in a home environment, maybe doing educational online.
Because there are so many, I'm sorry to jump in.
No, exactly.
There are so many different facets of voiceover that, if animation's not right for you, if promo's not right, like you said, maybe audiobooks is right. Maybe one of the pay-to-play ones is right. Maybe video games or internal stuff. There's just so many more facets of voiceover than there ever were before.
Mm-hmm.
And
nope, that can't happen. Thank you.
I've had students where I've guided them towards a certain area that's more better for them. Just because we only have so much energy and money to put into something. And I want people to be where they're going to succeed.
Right. Exactly. And that may have been what this coach was trying to do. Like, if I don't think you're going to succeed in this particular area, I don't want to take any more money from you.
I've had to do that twice. Yeah. And it's not easy. But if I see that there's no room for growth, or maybe there's something that's never going to change, mm-hmm. And I don't want to sound insulting or anything, but sometimes it's never going to get there. Right. Like maybe they have a stutter. They have to go away and work on that before they come back. Mm-hmm. I can't help them with that.
Right.
Sometimes there's people that want to really do animation and they are tone deaf. I will send them away to a couple people that I love to do pitch training with. Mm-hmm. And pitch training to me is essential for animation, because if they tell you to go up here or down there or hit this word, in commercial, it's a little easier, but in animation, you really have to hear the melody.
Right. And that's why I do think, because you're also a singer, you're a music artist, that it's almost like that's necessary to be great in animation, to hear the music, to find that pitch, to have that access.
Well, I'll tell you that of the top voice artists that I know, you know, Jess Harnell and E.G. Daly and Tara and Gray Griffin.
You all sing.
We all sing. However, there are some great voice artists, animation artists that don't sing. Jeannie Elias. She's great. She doesn't sing.
I didn't know that.
Dana Hill, she didn't sing. But, you know, they maybe excel at their little area of what it is they do best. So it is harder, but it's not impossible.
Got it. That's interesting. I am tone deaf. I mean, I can't sing. I cannot find that note, which I know might sound strange because I do have this voice that I work with, but when it comes to hearing a note and finding it.
Can I test you? Can you go, la, can you hit that note, la? See, you hit that note.
Yeah,
no,
I was just
you hit it straight on. No,
me.
you weren't. You hit it spot on, Randy.
Okay,
It
just
doesn't
don't
mean
test
you're
me
a
again.
singer, but it means that you can hear the note and your vocal cords will behave and reply.
So I want to see, Leland Jury said, in my experience, teachers who call students unteachable probably should be in a different line of work. And I absolutely agree, Leland. And Eleanor, I think you're getting some love from the group here, because no one should ever make you feel badly about your level of talent. It's then their place to say, you know what, you're not ready for my class, but I will send you to this person to study. But okay, so then she's going on to explain that. So this is from John Ciano. Ciano, is that how you say it? So I'm in New York, Long Island to be exact. I realize animation is majority West Coast. But how does someone here in New York get into animation? Of course, video games are here and I'd love that, but I'm curious if animation itself is a stretch because of location.
Sure is. When I was in Nashville, I was, that was before I came to LA. I was in LA and then Nashville for a couple of years, then back here. But I had sent my cassette demo to a number of top animation directors, you know, Sue Blue and Andrea Romano and Judy McSwain, and they all responded really kindly. Yeah, that's great voice, cute, but, you know, the work is here. So quickly got a divorce and moved home so I could do animation. And I started working, and 2 weeks later.
And you haven't stopped.
I haven't stopped. However, he's right. You can do video games, and you can go to these pay-to-plays and do some of the smaller things. But if, you know, most people think of a Nickelodeon show, a Disney show. It's really not going to happen anywhere but here. Maybe in Atlanta, or if there's a number of celebs on
technology changing and animation being able to be created and.
Unless you're a celeb, Randy, the few celebs on F is for Family.
Oh, please talk about it.
They will go to them. But, you know, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea about voice acting. It is rank and file. We are not celebrity status. We are day players, mostly scale. There's no room for a big head or an inflated ego because you can be replaced so quickly.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Yvonne Desjardins asked, what is pitch training?
Pitch training. You would, in the simplest form, you would sit down with the pianist. She would hit a note. You'd hit the note. There's a lot more to it. You know, maybe she'd do a trill. Maybe she'd hit notes out of your range. Maybe you'd explore how to hit lower notes. So there's a lot more to it. But pitch training is, your vocal cords are a certain size.
Yes.
And in order for her to hit a certain note, you stretch them or shrink them. And in your brain, when you hear that note, before it even comes out of your mouth, your vocal cord stretches to that exact length. And you want to be able to have your mind tell your cord how far to stretch before the sound comes out of your mouth.
So unless you've actually done all of those actions, your body won't know it.
Right, it's a muscle.
It's a muscle memory.
Muscle.
Interesting. Okay. I would like to get into animation, says Maurice Scott. I'm often told to pursue animation in video games because of my voice and sometimes quirkiness.
Are you an actor?
I would imagine Maurice Scott is an actor, but there's not too many details. Bev goes on to say, sometimes when I watch animated movies, I'm always amazed at how many voices seem to be mom or the store clerk, let's say. Normal voices, not really characters, like the kind they need. So how many voices do you have to do? Like, okay, first of all, let's talk about F is for Family on Netflix. I have not seen it yet, and I heard it's crazy.
It is crazy. It is funny. It's raunchy. If you're easily offended, maybe you can watch something else. It's super well written. Michael Price, one of the top writers on The Simpsons, writes it with Bill Burr and a team of the best writers, honestly, that I've ever. I mean, Jimmy Neutron's awesome too. There's a lot of great writers out there, but this team, they're so demented and so funny. And really great writing.
What character do you play?
I play the daughter, Maureen. She is about, I guess she's like 8 or 9 years old, and she doesn't have she says bad words sometimes, but not often, only when she's imitating her dad. And then I play Ken. He lives a little bit on the streets, and he wears a diaper. And sometimes his butt gets froze because he's cold, and his mama goes to, I can't say too much. But if you've seen season 1 and 2, Kenny's cute. I play also the neighbor, Philip. He's Bill's best friend, and he has some hidden secrets. I can't really go into it, but if you watch this show, you'll like Philip. And yeah, a lot
Do
more.
you have a Rolodex? Like in the old days, is that what you would have, like, would you write down? So okay, when this guy's talking.
At first, I mean, if you
the mouth is off to the side.
it's I wrote this book called Voiceover 101.
Yes.
How to Succeed as a Voice Actor. And there's this thing in there where I try to talk about how you combine, I mean, I think channeling a character is absolutely the best way of doing it. You know, I can talk like my mom. I can laugh like my mom. I can talk like my grandpa. I can imitate my little brother. You know, I can be my dog. The channeling is awesome. If you're having trouble channeling, coming up with a character, you look at the picture. You know, you look at the things that's going on with them, like layering. So yeah, you have these layers.
Right. Okay.
Like
I love
say she's
that.
just an old lady, right?
Right.
Okay. Oh, okay. So an old lady, she's in Los Angeles, and she has a couple of grandkids, but maybe she's not from Los Angeles. Maybe she's from the South. So we put an accent in there, and okay, maybe she's a little bit shy, and or you know, maybe she's from the Midwest, huh? Or maybe she's not too nice. She could be brash and horrible. So you just put those little things that only you can do. Maybe you're the only one that can do that Boston accent in your family, or and you can put a speech impediment on them, like if they have braces shine, or you know, maybe they have different placements. There's all these sinuses you can put your voices in. Is it here?
Right.
Is it here? Is it here? Is it here?
Right.
Is it here? Or is it just your normal? Can I get back to that teacher question? Somebody said a lot of the roles are just normal. And so those roles, you have to be like a pretty great actor. And I really don't know who's going to get those. The things that I compete for are not those. Those roles are the bones they throw me, you know, like the emergency room nurse, or, you know, if they're not huge roles, they just throw those bones to the characters, because we can all do normal voices too. Right. And in the contract, they get you for 2-3 voices, you know, and it's cheaper for them to use you for more. And also for video games, you have to at least audition for 3 of the parts, because they're not going to use you if for just one voice.
So you need to book 3 parts.
Pretty much.
They need to hear 3
3 or
characters
more.
that you can sell them on.
Well, when the
And then
audition
they
comes
might
in,
throw
there's
you that.
a whole bunch of characters. They say
Right.
read for as many as you want. Read for at least 3, and
At
make
least.
sure they're different.
Right.
You know, read for the mushroom and the soldier and the fairy. Read
Wow.
and make them all different.
See, I'm frozen at the word mushroom. Like, okay, what is a mushroom? sound
That's what a
like? I
mushroom
don't know.
sounds like.
That's not what a mushroom sounds like.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, that's so funny. So to put you on the spot, and by the way, Debi Derryberry is a voiceover mastery master coach. There will be a semi-private 10-student class away from the general session that Debi is putting on. And we can only put 10.
It's just a wine tasting, really.
So let me ask you a question. So for folks that would maybe want to come to VO Mastery, maybe this is one of our friends here who said, I'd like to do it. I'm from New York. There's not a lot of animation. But if they just have that hankering, like I want to train with a really great animation coach for one day of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to choose out of all of the applicants that you're going to get for your masterclass, how would you decide? Do you want to hear a demo because maybe they don't have an animation demo, or would you want them to just take a piece of copy and hear what they do with it and submit a piece of copy?
Golly, I didn't know this question was coming.
I
Really.
know. And then I'm actually going to go one deeper. You're going to love this, Andrew. Jack, let me show you my good friend, Jack. Where are you, Jack?
He's over here.
So this is Jack Daniel. For those of you who may, just pull your chair. That seat you're right here. So for those of you who don't know, Jack came to VO Mastery last year.
I did.
And when you came to VO Mastery, sorry, Debbie, I'm going to get you back. But I want
Jack
to set
looks
up
like
the
a
story
brand
here.
new man.
So if you came to VO Mastery last year. You were living in San Francisco.
I was.
And what did you expect when you came?
I expected instant fame and fortune. And I got it. No,
Well,
honestly,
you're so realistic. That was good.
honestly, what I was looking for was 2 things. I wanted some first-rate instruction. I wanted to be kind of immersed in the world that is Los Angeles voiceover.
Mhm.
And I wanted to meet other people who were interested in the same things I was.
Mhm.
And VO Mastery attracts so many people of talent. So I've made so many connections. That was really critical for me, and it actually was hugely influential in having me come down and move here.
So Jack went ahead, he moved. He's living here in Los Angeles. He's signed with DPN.
Correct.
And
Yay, Jeff Dana.
yay! And you're working all the time.
All the time.
And Jack has been such a great friend because with the putting VO Mastery together for this year, and I showed up at the coffee talk and he came and he's like, well, let me help you, So every week now I've got Jack and Carson and they're helping me put the equipment together so that we can do live things from coffee talk. And then he brought his Neumann U87 for me to have a second mic
That I'm
tonight.
talking in right now. I'm talking in the Neumann.
Do you like that Neumann?
I do like
Do you
this
have
Neumann.
one?
No, I use a Rode. The Neumann is very nice. It just depends on your particular voice. The one I have tends to pick up more bass, which is what I need.
Which is what you
And
need.
if this is his mic, this is really good for picking up treble. But
Yes.
I got plenty of treble.
You're
It's
the
all
trouble with
about the
treble.
bass.
The trouble with treble on Debbie. So you're doing what kind of work here?
Mostly commercial, some promo, but commercial is my bread and butter.
Yeah, you can hear your voice is just horrible.
So if I ask
I mean,
Jack-
your voice is, if I saw you just like walking down the street, I would make you quit your job and move here to do voiceover.
So I wanted to see what would happen because Jack said, I've never really done any character work. I don't do animation. I don't do video games, but I would love to. So I said, do you have a piece of copy that maybe was sent to you? And I'd like to hear you read it. Debbie, of course, would love to see the words because.
Yeah,
I
we
got
shared
it right
earlier,
here.
Oh, you got it? Oh, you did this. Okay. So I want to see what happens when actor guy who does commercials reads for Debbie. And I think you'll understand what I'm talking about in terms of her
Okay.
awesome directing by the way she's going to.
This is how not to do it, folks. You have the copy, Dad?
I do. I just gonna kick your ass a little bit right here. Hold on.
Now, since there's two characters, are you going to read the other characters?
Yes, I'll read the other character.
So you'll be Hogan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's just read it once through, and I won't stop.
Just go through it once.
Let's just go through it to get the words, okay?
Okay.
Bite, bite. Not you, the ball.
You made that joke last time.
Ain't seen you in a while, Vlad. Sunshine, not your thing?
Golf is so expensive.
2 words for you. My fine fanged friend, golf now saves us a bundle. Plus, if you rack up rewards, free golf.
Free?
It's like open table, only for something important. Booking any other way is a pain in the neck, but maybe you like that?
You also made that joke last time.
Want a steak sandwich at the turn? That's S-T-A-K-E. Boom!
Methinks you shouldn't quit your day job.
I'll be here all week. That's no joke. We will literally be here all week. Titles, Randy's time.
Interesting. I see what's happening. I'm going to give you this chair
Okay.
so that you don't, because I sit on that stool. Yeah, I sit on the stool that doesn't make noise.
Okay.
You're like a little bit of a big boy there.
Yeah.
All right. Hang on. Let me
Okay.
turn this back.
Okay.
Here we go.
I totally would have done better if it hadn't been for the stool.
The stool
Yeah.
made noise. I'm sorry. I threw your game wall.
All right, Dad.
Okay, so that read was a great read. It was a fun read. It was what they expect.
That's what they
It is
expect.
what all 300 people who auditioned for this are going to
Right.
give them.
Right.
Okay, it doesn't mean it was a bad read. So how do we get it to stand out? And you did it once down here on your free, right? Most people are going to go what you did, are going to go pre, but that's not what you did. You fumfered on it, did a little stutter at the top, right?
Mm.
You didn't change the words. You didn't inflate it too much, but enough so that it wasn't just what everybody else is going to do.
Right.
So kudos on that one. That was great.
I got one word right. That's awesome.
No, I went to that because that was the one that I want you to use as an example for all the other lines.
Got it.
I want you to
Okay.
do something else with them. So like the first, see how you say you made
nice.
that joke last time?
Mm-hmm.
You say that twice, right?
I
So
do.
let's
more
make
or
sure
less.
that they're not the same both times.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So let's go through that again, and
Okay.
then I will stop you at each one.
It
Okay.
sounds like Bela Lugosi in one part.
Well, I sound
Well,
like
yeah.
a generic
No,
Berger.
he had his Transylvanian.
Got it.
He was
Okay,
rocking
good,
his
good.
Transylvanian.
All right, I like it.
Okay.
And then okay, so go ahead. Bite, bite. Ah, not you, the ball.
You make that joke last time.
So what if you said, now this is just for the audition, okay?
Right.
When you're in the studio, the writers are married to the words.
Right.
But what if, just to get it, just for shits and giggles, I said shit. What if you say,
And giggles.
you know what, you know what, you know what? How about that?
You know what?
But tie it right to it, okay? Don't make it a whole nother line. Tie it right to it.
Just write
You
it.
know what? You made that. Something simple.
Okay. Let's do that.
Try that. Bite, bite, not you, the ball.
You know what? You make that joke last time.
You didn't go right into it.
I put a little thing in
Yeah.
between.
Right.
Don't do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Just take your line.
You know what? You make that joke last time.
Good. Ain't seen you in a while, Vlad. Sunshine, not your thing.
Golf is so expensive.
That made me laugh. That was good. 2 words for you, my fine banging friend. Golf now saves us a bundle. Plus, if you rack up rewards, free golf.
3?
Nice. And now, let's do this.
Okay.
I'm throwing ideas at you.
Do it.
So repeat what he said, okay? Rack up rewards, free golf.
Free
Call
golf.
it free?
Like
So
to
that it's in your
myself
head.
or
To yourself,
yeah.
but it gets you into the line. So repeat like free golf quickly in your head, a little out loud.
Free golf, like just like that.
Yeah, but just
Okay.
a free golf. Free?
golf. 3? Oh,
Yeah.
wait, don't I want to have that stutter.
So it's
a
just
little
3 beats.
artificial.
Boom, boom, boom.
That free golf. 3.
I want to hear free golf. Free?
Free golf. 3.
Nice.
Okay.
So you jumped it off the page a little bit and you didn't stray too
I
much.
like that it's
Um,
jumping off the page. That's nice.
It's like open table only for something important. Booking any other way is a pain in the neck, but maybe you like that.
You also make that joke last time.
What if you said that and you were like so angry you want to rip his head off, but not screaming?
Right, just more intense.
Like a little disgusted with him.
Okay. You also make that joke last time.
Even a little more venom.
More? Okay.
Maybe a scoff at the top.
You also make that joke last time.
That's funny. Want a steak sandwich at the turn? Remember, you got to make the straight man sound as straight as possible. Because
Right.
the funny in animation only happens when you have something extreme meet something else extreme.
You're Tom
As in
and Jerry.
flat man and, yeah. So, want a steak sandwich at the turn? That's S-T-A-K-E. Boom!
Methinks you shouldn't quit your day job.
Now let's just try making that as flat
Just
and
flat.
fast as
Makes
possible.
sense. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Methinks you shouldn't quit your day job.
What can we do to make that funnier?
Anything?
How about you be happy on, like, if you're going to give him a compliment and then go into insult. Like, you know what?
Okay. Methinks that you shouldn't quit your day job.
There you go. Good, good, good.
But don't hit the mic when I say it. Is that correct also?
You see, that's how we get it off the
That's
page.
wonderful. Thank
I
you.
Nice
love
job.
Very well done.
So good, Debbie.
I learned everything I know from Jeff Danis.
And I ain't paying it, just so we're clear.
That's true. For demonstrational purposes only.
What? Aren't
So-
they amazing?
So let me see. We
My
have
goodness.
Thank you.
Nice job.
While
Yes.
okay, if you go get the guitar. So while animation is my greatest strength and passion, I've been advised to pour my energy into more commercial training. This is Sarah Kramer. Because that's what agents are interested in. My goal is to be represented by an LA agent so I can get animation auditions, but I'm stuck, for lack of a better word, pursuing commercials until I can get representation. Is there...
So she wants animation, but she's been told she's commercial.
Right, sort of like Jack. So what do you do? I can do characters. I love acting.
Well, in this case, plus that one has a broken string and it's nylon.
You know, he's so observant that way.
There are a lot of normal things you can audition for in animation. Like the other person's comment, you know, there are the moms and the normies, and in video games there's the soldiers, and oh, I'm gonna burp. Want to hear it? Oh, that was a good one.
Guess what? I don't do animation, but I can burp.
Well, I can't burp on cue. That was nice. But
That
when
was
you're doing
gross. My husband
cartoons,
is just freaked out.
they're always burping, and I don't burp on cue, so I just have the guy run a little burp track for me. I guess you just have to see what doors open for you. I would love to be, more commercial and promo, but guess what?
Your pigeonhole.
I don't mind. I think you should kind of honor your pigeonhole and just see what happens. You can continue to pursue animation and go on your pay-to-play sites, yourvoices.com, your Voice123. They have some animated stuff.
Right.
Start auditioning. See if you get some thumbs up.
Yeah. And you know what? There are other ways to get auditions other than your agents. And maybe you can start figuring out how to do that. We're going to talk about that because the marketing is a huge part of our careers. And I would like to share that with you at VO Mastery. And of course, in the coming weeks, we're going to talk more about the marketing and how to find that other work. In the meantime, I would think if you did study with someone like Debbie for animation, and then you go back and tell your agent, I'm studying with Debi Derryberry, they're going to go, you know what? She's great. Let me hear what you're doing with her. So they might then maybe hear you in a different way. If you're putting the money in to say, look, I'm serious. I'm going to study with this person to do it.
Because even, normal voices like yours is so fabulously commercial and marketable.
Right.
There are ways to vary it and get it off the
Quick
page.
question, Deb. How many characters should be on your character demo? And should there be a running theme or just different characters?
7? No. 60 seconds or less. I found that when people are doing snippets, it takes about 5 to 10 seconds to get the arc in there. I think each piece can stand alone. For LA agents, I found they like to hear your top characters. If a mom is what you do best, put it on there. And then for sometimes I combine video game demos and animation demos together. But if you really want to just do video games, then we would just do that.
Right.
But yeah, about 7 or 8, because then if you have 5 to 10 seconds per piece, you want to whittle it down.
Yeah.
I just take the gold. I record a lot more, obviously, and then all the gems get saved.
How many characters would you say? If someone said, how many characters can you do? That was actually a question. How many would you say?
How would I know?
How would you know?
How would
you
I
can
know?
still create.
I mean, it's you know, you add different parts. It's like how many numbers can you create with 5, 6 numbers? You know, how many, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, well, sure. You can get inspired and something would just happen organically.
But I'd say just easily graspable, probably, I don't know, 10-ish, but I'm sure there's a lot more in there.
And a ton of ancillary that are just,
yeah.
So, and within the context of a show where you know what all those other voices and what they're doing, then when they give you an ancillary character, you've got to be sure you're doing something that no one else is going to do.
And the engineers are great. You know, once you find that character, then you'll have your ref, and you can always ask the engineer to throw you the ref in the middle of the session, and then.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because you know my brain's full.
What do you got to knock out of there to get more stuff?
I know.
Exactly. What other markets around the country are good for animation? I think Debbie said LA.
Atlanta has a Cartoon Network.
Northern California, San Francisco area for animation?
Vancouver, I guess.
Yeah.
But the cartoons are recorded here.
This is it.
India.
You going to China?
A lot of the money for animation is coming from China. I think if you want to go ahead, and I think a lot of people are doing these projects that they write themselves. They can do the voices themselves, put them on YouTube, see what happens.
Right.
If you have a lot of followers, that YouTube webisode can be picked up by any of the networks. And I've seen this happen time and time again.
Their own, you mean?
Creating your own. You know, if you just do a couple.
You guys are talented enough to write your own parts and record them. Someone wanted to know about production in a character demo. Should it have a lot of production, sound effects, music, etc.?
Yes, but not on your voice.
Not on the voice.
If I'm recording you as, you know, the asshole general, get out, no, go! I want to hear bombs going off.
Right.
Yeah, I want to hear, you know, if it's your Dumbledore, not the Dumbledore, but if it's your Ian McClellan voice, you know.
Right.
We're all hoping you'll come and help us. I want that epic music in the background.
Got it.
You know, if there's a dog licking your face, I want to hear the barking, the sound effects. If you're a school teacher, throw in all those kids screaming and screaming, just so nothing takes away from your voice.
So you guys can do this on your own. You know, you've got the ability. Everyone's sitting in their room with their microphones and. You
can do it on your own for, you know, the pay-to-play sites. But if you're going to submit to an agent, your demo better be competitive with mine.
Yeah. And for those of you that aren't aware of voicebank.net, go to voicebank.net. Listen to, you know, just click. There's a bar up at top and it says listen to demos. And just click on that and you can go into any agency and listen to animation. Listen to what those demos are sounding like because those are all represented talent. Not all of them are amazing, but that is pretty much what the standard of what the demos should sound like. It better be that good or better, correct?
Yep.
So we got to meet 2 of our VO Mastery experts, Debbie, animation, Andrew Berger, who is radio imaging. You guys, and Jack coming in and helping me with the mic and actually setting yourself up. It could have gone very bad.
It could have gone sideways real fast.
It could have gone sideways, but it didn't. You did great. And
the audience.
And the audience.
Yay, audience.
Beautiful studio audience in gorgeous downtown Burbank.
You guys are so great. I'm so happy that you were able to find time this evening to join us. And I want to know, I know today our notes went, hi, Eleanor, I see you. So beautiful.
Let me shout out to Mark, Karen, if you're there. Hi, Mark.
I see everyone here. And so I just want to know, we sent the note out today, like in the afternoon about tonight. And it seems to get us our most people. Like sometimes we send out a week in advance, be ready. But it seems that the day of, it's like, oh, I've got nothing going on from 9 to 10, or 6 to 7. Yeah, Debbie will play us off the air. That's why I'm finishing the rest of my announcements. Thank you, Bobby Sheldon. Thank you to everyone. I love you guys all in the Zoom chat room. We are now Zoom people. We did this via other ways last year. We're sold on Zoom. We're going to do it again next week. We're going to start to bring through all of our VO masters. I can't wait to just blow your mind with some of the folks that we have this year. And we're releasing the information little by little. Right now, Shovita will be sending everyone following this webinar. She's going to ask you for some questions, let us know how we can make the webinar better next time. But she'll also send you a discount code to buy your VO Mastery tickets. October 28th, Saturday is the big day. That's where we have general session, all the vendors. We're then going to party on from 4 to 7 after the full day is over. And for those of you doing the master classes, those take place, it's like maybe 2,000 yards from the banquet rooms where we are. We walk down to Media City Sound, and that's where all of our private master classes will be. When I say private, it's 10 versus, however many will be in the room at the Sportsman's Lodge. So many exciting things. We're going to have huge auditions, but auditions are tricky because they really come in closer to the time of VO Mastery because of the nature of commercials and promos and auditions. So we don't get a big lead time on them, and so we've got to get them as close to the event as possible to make them relevant and are real jobs. So thank you again. If you want, go to vomastery.com and get your tickets. Do it early. Start buying those airline tickets because it is October, but we're calling it because it's the Saturday night before Halloween. This VO Mastery is all about unmasking your VO potential. So we will close it out by unmasking a little music with Debi Derryberry.
And then we're just gonna, I don't have to play the whole song, right?
Just play a little bit.
All right, this is I'm starting my Honey Pig Trio again.
Oh, I love that.
This is a Forester one.
So tell them about Honey Pigs.
Oh, Honey Pig's a country band I had a long time ago, and I'm revamping it. It's like a Dixie Chicks, like a 3-part harmony, so you don't get the other chicks now. The other pigs. I'm hanging around, hoping you'll get lonely. I'm hanging around, though you say we're through. You're telling me now that you'll never miss me, but I'm hanging around just in case you do.
Yeah.
You gotta give us a little Jimmy Neutron out.
All right, okay, it's time for us to go, so got a blast!
Got a blast.
Awesome, Debbie.
We'll talk
Awesome.
to you guys next week.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great night. Love to everybody.
Bye, Randy.
Thank you, Shavita.
Lights are down.
Oh,
Got a blast!
thank you guys.
Isn't that just amazing that I can talk?
Hang on. Let me stop.